Continuing on my theme of videos covering the basics of microdosing psilocybin, I come to you with a few more factors to consider, some of which apply to macrodosing as well. In order to make this a standalone video, let me first break down how much psilocybin to ingest for a microdose versus a macrodose. Around 1/10 of a gram, or 10 milligrams and below, is what's technically considered a microdose. Depending on your tolerance, you can take a little more than this, but the point of a microdose is to not feel any intoxicating effects at all, being able to carry out all of your daily tasks, and possibly even forgetting that you took any mushrooms to begin with. Whereas for a dose of psilocybin to be considered a macrodose, it's enough to pass the threshold of intoxication. This threshold will be different for everyone. It's been said that 1 gram of psilocybin equals liftoff. But depending on your tolerance, liftoff could be well below or above 1 gram. So now that we have a basic idea of how much psilocybin mushrooms constitute a microdose versus a macrodose, the rest of the concepts in this video and the follow-up video can be applied to both microdosing and macrodosing. Now let's cover a couple of the more common methods of ingesting a dose of psilocybin, whether that be for a micro or macro dose. Firstly, you could just weigh out the desired dose of dehydrated mushrooms and chomp them down. If you got yourself a basic little scale, a bag of dried psychedelic mushrooms, and you don't mind the taste, this is a fine method of ingestion. A better way to ingest a dose, though, comes in the form of a tincture. If you have the means yourself, or are fortunate enough to find a trustworthy kitchen witch who produces a high-quality tincture, this is by far a more superior method of ingestion. In the context of microdosing, if you're weighing and eating your doses, each dose is going to have a slight variance. Whether you eat a cap or a stem or a combination of both at once, the psilocybin is potentially concentrated differently throughout differing parts of the mushroom body. If you get a big batch of freshly grown mushrooms to microdose, say for a period of 3 months, the psilocybin will have maximum potency at the beginning of the 3 months and slowly degrades as time goes on, adding to this potential for a dose-to-dose variance. Whereas if you obtain a psilocybin tincture, you're eliminating the potential for these variances. Your doses will be very consistent. By using alcohol extraction to isolate the psilocybin molecules from the mushroom bodies, it ends up being a cleaner, safer, more consistent method of ingestion. And the quality or potency won't degrade. Using a tincture to ingest psilocybin is clearly the superior method, but takes more resources to obtain or create versus just weighing and eating mushrooms. So work with what you got and you should get some benefits regardless. And be on the lookout for part 2 of this video because it's coming soon.